Good anytime, my fuzzies, to a quick review of a game I just finished. All opinions in this video are mine and mine alone, so just please enjoy and don't take them too seriously. Thank you. Good anytime, my fuzzies, and welcome to a quick review of Pikmin 2. Like I always do for these quick reviews, I rank them 1 to 5. 1 being 1 or 0 being that whatever it was trying to go for, it just failed at. It did not hit the mark for me, and I felt it could be vastly improved, and it's not even worth your time in that aspect to even view it. 3 being that whatever it was going for, it just basically hit it, didn't do anything better, didn't do anything worse. It just, it nailed what it was going for, but wasn't really overly enthralling or whatnot. And 5 being that, in the end, it was really good. It took all my expectations and alleviated it to the max degree. It just did a really good job at conveying the aspect of the thing I am measuring at the moment. It just did it really, really well, surprised me, or made me feel really good about it, or did it nearly perfectly. But without further ado, as always, we will start with the story. So the story of Pikmin 2 takes place right after Pikmin 1. Olimar returns back home to his company to figure out, they're in financial ruin and need X amount of money to Pocos to get back on top. After his trip, he had brought home a bottle cap for his son as a souvenir. After the, ship thing finds out that there's money and there's more on the planet, they go, hey, take this guy Louis, who got us into this financial snafu, or Louis, who was attacked by space rabbits, and he had all the pico carrots eaten right in front of him. Take him to the planet and do the good stuff. So you basically go to the planet and you get treasure from on top of land. You go into caves to get treasure. You get your Pikmin. You get more Pikmin than you had before. White and purple coloring in this, each with their own uniqueness. That makes it even more fun and thrilling to play. And basically just get treasure. At the end of getting the debt repaid, you leave happy that you've paid back the debt, but figure out, no, Louis was left on the planet somehow. So you return with the president to find Louis, get the rest of the treasure and whatnot, and then I won't go into spoilers about the very end of the game, but it's really good. Overall, I like this, especially at the end of each day, you have a little note from either the president, your family members, Louis' family members, or even the president's family members, or even scams and other outsider things talking to you. And sometimes they go into each other. Like the one time we got a scam call, and then the next day Olimar's son was like, hey Dad, should I go into this? This sounds good. So it's fun. Them giving you stuff lets you know what's going on with the president, where he's, everything's good, don't worry about it. Oh no, we went with the wrong bank and loan, they're not good people. Oh well, I'm under the bridge, please hurry. And the longer you take, the more you take to get the max debt, the more you get from that, and you can see a slow decline of how bad it's gotten for the president. Overall, with story, I'm going to give it a 5. I like the little story bits at the end with your family or the president or whoever. They just add a little more spice to it. I enjoy the going back for getting the treasure aspect. I think that's a fun way to make it something different than before, yet still something good and to strive for, because you don't want to see the president get taken out by these loan sharks. And you don't want the company to go under and all of that. And at the end, you don't want Louis. You might not want Louis to go. Louis is an iffy character, though. Louis to be eaten or whatever by whatever insects happen upon him. Bugs, insects, foes, whatever. I don't even know what they are really supposed to be. But either 5 out of 5, because it's just a good classic story that really gets you in there and makes you want to go with all the stuff that other people talk about. Next up, we will go to the scenery. So you have 4 places here, each modeled after the seasons. So you start in a winter place, then you go to a spring place, a fall, a spring place, a summer place, then a fall place to end it all off on. Each place has their own unique look because they're like whatever. But another thing I really like about the game is that if you look around, each place is similar to the places in the first game, Just time has changed how they look and how they feel and all that good stuff, which I really appreciate. I like how time has changed the world that you're in and exploring, which is a nice thing. But each area has their own unique look to it, and they have their own little things. Like the winter place mainly has land. There's a water place which has more water and whatnot. The summer place, that is a summer place. The spring place? I've been there. What was it like? I don't know, it's nice. On top of that, you also have caves in this game. Every area has at least 3 to 4 caves in there. Each looking cave-ish, but they do spice it up a little bit here and there with unique looks, as well as how the layouts of the caves go, because some of them are procedurally generated. So while you go through it one way, you might have enemies placements in one area with tunnels and whatnot in another. When you go through it again, it will be different layout and different enemy placement. Same enemies, just placed differently, and the treasures as well, and all that good stuff. So it could either be very easy to get stuff and get out, or it can be intensely hard, depending on what enemies are in your path. But overall, for the area design and whatnot, 5 out of 5 again. It looks really nice. I like when games go back to previous areas you've been to see how it's changed. And this just did a good way of doing it. With lots of different ways to go, bridges. You need certain things, more Pikmin for something else. And the caves were nicely designed. They all, sooner or later, look the same. But they always have different layouts and even different enemy placements, so they are different in that regard. So 5 out of 5 because it looks really good. I like the areas; they're neat and have little things in the background, like the snow area. You can see kind of snowmen-esque creatures or mounds built and whatnot, so it just adds to it and looks very nice with designs and whatnot. That shows a past culture that maybe not be there, may not be on the planet anymore, but who knows. So 5 out of 5 for the setting as well, because it's just nice. I like it. It was nice, it was good, it looked beautiful, every area looked distinct. The caves didn't really, but I get why caves didn't really. Some of them did, though. Some of them had more unique features than others, so it's going to be a 5 out of 5. The characters, so you have the 3 main characters being Olimar, Lewis, and the president, as well as a bunch of side characters who you only see in notes, like Olimar's family being the son, daughter, wife, Lewis's grandma, and the president's wife, I believe. So overall, with Olimar and Lewis, you didn't really get much in story about their characters and whatnot, besides the cutscenes of when they're looking at stuff and how they react to stuff. But you can look at different things like the treasure and the enemies. You have a little catalog, and Lewis will tell you how to cook them, and Olimar, or if they're good to cook, and Olimar will talk about them from a more research-based mindset of describing how they are and how they work, which is neat. And the president, through his emails, he's just delightful. I feel bad for him. And then the other people are kind of just there to say stuff to keep it going. Like, I think your wife gets the bonus and is happy, then spends it all. So that's kind of sad. Your son thinks about falling for a scam, but is happy that his mother, Olimar's wife, is happy at the moment. And the daughter, I think we only got one from her. I can't remember. Lewis's grandma just wants him to be happy and healthy and fed. Also might be slightly abusive, because apparently she made him eat bugs, and that does not sound like a good relationship unless he wanted to eat bugs. So that's kind of weird. And then the president's wife just wants him to get home and go on vacation or whatnot. So overall, with the characters, I'm going to give it... I'll give them a 5 out of 5. Because they are well versed. They have their own distinct personalities and whatnot that are all parallel and opposite to each other that drive things forward. I love Olimar being a research-based person first, and this game continued that, even though he's not... Oh, he had the ship as well, who was very condescending. That's right. I don't like this ship. Oh, Olimar, did you talk to Lewis about this, how to do this? No? Well, I'm controlling them, so of course he'll know how to do it. You don't have to tell me twice, which is a thing with Nintendo does sometimes, where they'll mention something and then be like, oh yeah, just so you know, I already mentioned this, but you could do this. Remember that. Never forget that. So we'll see how it goes. But I liked it. Good game, good characters, each of them unique, but adding to the plot to further it. And then we have, so 5 out of 5 for characters. And moving on to the gameplay, you had basically the same gameplay as Pikmin 1, where you gathered Pikmin, you took down enemies to take them back to your hive to get more Pikmin. You gathered items, which in this case is treasure, to bring back to your ship. So a lot of it's the same as Pikmin 1 with the whistle. This time you do have Louis there, and then the president after him to switch between. But Louis or the president, they can't be told to just walk somewhere when not being used. You have to move them manually. They don't take out the Pikmin that are around them in the ground automatically. But if you're with them and you start picking, they will help pick too. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's not even 2-player in the main story, which is weird. I would have liked a 2-player story, but we get what we get, right? Besides that, you got 2 new Pikmin. You have the purple Pikmin, who can count carrying as 10 Pikmin. So whenever they're picking something up, they count as 10. As well as they're heavy, so if you hit an enemy with it, there's a chance they will stun the enemy for a while, making for easy battles. And then there's the white Pikmin, who are quicker than every other Pikmin. They can also dig down into stuff and find treasure that is buried that no other Pikmin can, as well as take care of poison things in this game that would hurt your Pikmin. Also in this game, there's a lot more elemental stuff. The first one just had fire, really, with some water puddles here and there. In this one, you have not only the fire thing and water puddles, but you also have electric gates that only yellow can get through, and also electric enemies and obstacles that if anyone that's not yellow Pikmin walks into it, they'll be shocked and killed instantly, which is not good. I don't like that aspect of the game. 3, they changed it. They do change it so that it just shocks them for a bit. But like I don't like the insta-death if something happens. And there's no way to get away and whatnot. I just think it's a very cheap thing to do. Especially because I've lost a lot of Pikmin just because I release them to stand idle, and then they go do something, and they run into the electric fence. Okay, that does not help me at all. Thank you, though. Other things, there's berries you can pick in this one now. That gives you a pink or purple berry. The purple one will make enemies turn to stone, which will make sure they can't move. You do a little less damage to them, but they won't move and attack you, so it can be an easy way to take care of some bosses or other enemies if you're able to. As well as there's a pink. The pink one will power up your Pikmin to do extra damage and be quicker. So it's another good one if you're going against a tough boss. Load them up with that and just go. Very, very fun. So overall, with mechanics, there's also the cave mechanic, where you take Pikmin in there. Sometimes you can find more pick buds, which are like the Bullocks enemies, but Pikmified, so if you kill their mother or whatnot, you'll be able to take charge of them. It's nice. Overall, with mechanics, I am going to give it a 4.5, because it's really well done. It works really well going through. I just think if you have Lewis or the president with you as a secondary character, they should do more, because it just felt like, yeah, I can become them and walk all the way back to game Pikmin and whatnot, but I didn't see much use for them besides just being there for certain bosses / puzzles / picking up Pikmin. Which even then, later on, you get a whistle. You can get upgrades in this game, one of them being the whistle upgrade, which when Pikmin hear it, they will jump out of the ground. So even then, it's useless after that. I don't know. I wish the Pikmin, they had 2-player in this game. Because it seemed like that would be the obvious thing. You have you can even do Pikmin, 2-player Pikmin, or have 2 players in the challenge mode, which I'll do later. So it's just weird to me that is the thing, and it doesn't allow it. Kind of useless. As well as, like I said, the electric thing. I would prefer they get shocked, sent back, and if you don't call them in time, then they die. But just an instant death anytime a game where you have a lot of Pikmin you're working with. So if there's getting in a chair. So if there's a time when your Pikmin do something you don't want them to do and they die for that, I feel bad because it's not on me. I didn't tell them to go to the electric fence and try and break it down. They did it on their own. And they died for it because they're somewhat programmed. They should have had a thing where only yellow Pikmin will go, oh yeah, electricity, let's go for it. Wouldn't let go. I think that would have been better. Or they just don't go after things when you let go of them. Maybe. I don't know. Because letting go of them does help when fighting enemies, but I've also lost a lot of Pikmin because I let go, and then something happens quickly and it's just over. A lot of it's on me, my fault and whatnot, but overall, 4.5. Yeah, but overall, for the game mechanics, 4.5, because it's just, the electricity thing is very cheap, and as well as the, what is it? As well as the 2-player seems like they wanted that, but there's no real need to have another person with you. Besides also attacking enemies quicker, that helped out. But either way, 4 out of 5 because there were a few things that could have done better. And now for the final part of this, because this is a surprise, Pikmin 2 is a sequel to Pikmin. How does it stack up against its predecessor? How does it take what Pikmin had and make Pikmin 2 even better? And in my opinion, it did a really, really good job. I think this is a 5 out of 5. 4.5 for a sequel. Because you get 2 new Pikmin, being the purple and white, which work really well to add more puzzles to the game. They can help you out, so you don't have to instead of sending 8 red Pikmin to take something back to your hive, you could send 1 red and then 1 purple. It'd be slow, but they would get there. So they help out in a lot of regard. The areas, very much the same as Pikmin 1, going around and whatnot, but they changed up the thing where if you're going over a bridge, your Pikmin will actually scrunch together and go over the bridge. A lot of deaths for me in Pikmin 2, in the first Pikmin, was us going across a bridge and then someone just went over the edge. They didn't go narrowly, which this game fixed that, which was a major thing in the first one. This one fixed it, and that's good. The only other thing that brings it down for me, also electric fence, would be the caves. I like the idea of caves. The cave idea is very nice for a challenge, but they're challenging. Some of the hardest caves they put out there is in the first area. And for me, you get you leave the first area. I kind of get it, because you leave the first area, you get your Pikmin, you do everything else, then you come back. That's, I guess, what they thought. Oh yeah, you get the blue Pikmin from the second area, you get the yellow Pikmin from the third area, and you just go 3, 2, and then back down to 1. They'll do that, then by the time they get to 1, they'll be well versed in the game and how it works, and they'll be good to go. But for me, I went, okay, I got the yellow Pikmin, let's go all the way back to the first level, and those caves just wrecked me. Granted, I got wrecked a lot even in the final area's caves, but I like the idea of caves. I feel like they should be a post-game challenge. And there is a challenge mode. I'll be doing it later. But yeah, it's just weird. Lovely but weird. But like the caves I kind of have a gripe with. My main thing is the 2-player thing is there, but it's not there. 3 you do have 2 players, which is nice. 1 you don't. 1 you don't because you're alone. 2 you don't for whatever reason besides the collecting thing. And electric gate as well. It's just too easy to die from electric enemies. So, but overall, a really great game. Overall, I am going to give it a 5 out of 5. It is a great sequel. I love the series. It fixed a lot from Pikmin 1. But the caves are just hell to go through. They also add in a lot more time because you could spend an hour in one cave, where in the first game, if you spend an hour, you usually take 2 or 3 days in-game. Granted, I spent a lot of my time just getting the people's corpses and whatnot, because if you're in caves, the bodies you collect of your fallen foes turn into money instead of just fuel to get more Pikmin. But overall, 5 out of 5. The story is neat. I like going back to the planet for a different reason, being treasure. It adds pressure on you to do it because the president's in danger. And then just really well done. The areas are nice because they're nice and new with a lot more challenges in it that you need more, that warrant having 2 people in as well. But they also look nice. Some of the areas are actually taken from the first game and changed up because of weather and whatnot, passage of time, changed them to make them something new to explore while still being something the same, which I appreciate. It was a really good game. Settings and whatnot. So then there's the characters. We're good for driving the story. The ship is a fine character. Just gets on my nerves because she's very condescending, or it's very condescending and all that. Louis is kind of just a gourmet chef. He wants to really cook, but he's forced to go on adventures. So he's kind of just meh on it all. And Olimar loves exploration. He loves journeying to new places, and he really gets that through his story. The president is kind of a bumbling fool who tries his best and has a heart of gold. And is really good. The game mechanics really did a good job of keeping your Pikmin actually alive, but there were still some things like the electric fence where they would die. The caves were tough, but fair, I feel like, in most cases, as long as you were smart about it. And the potential for 2-player was there, but they didn't give it to you, so that's also a weird thing. Because I feel like they should have had 2-player in the main story. But either way, and going back to this being a sequel, it did a really good job of taking everything the first one did and upping it a lot. They fixed things where your Pikmin would just die by walking randomly off a bridge into water. So they fixed that so that doesn't happen anymore, which is a godsend. Thank you. As well as other nice little fixes. You got 2 new Pikmin to work with, so it gave more strategy to the game. Newer enemies that were very tough and had different ways of destroying them. The Purple Pikmin had the stun ability, which helped out with a lot of big bosses, but it didn't always work out. So I like it overall. Overall, 5 out of 5 for Pikmin 2. I really recommend playing this game because the whole series is nice. Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go through 3 later, so we'll see if my thoughts change, but they're just nice games with a good purpose, and you just have fun going through. The final game, there's also Hey Pikmin, which I'll play at some point when I'm able to. That's kind of just there. It had a whole different style. And Pikmin Bloom is kind of just walk around and Pikmin stuff happens. Still nice, though. But either way, it's a fantastic series. 5 out of 5 on Pikmin 2. Lovely, lovely game. And I will leave this here until I play the challenge maps. But either way, Thank you, my fuzzies, for watching, and I will see you next anytime. Take care.